So, you have the syllabus on Beachboard. I'm not printing it out, trying to save, some trees in the Amazon or whatever. But the syllabus is fairly detailed and has a lot of, covering a lot of areas that I want you to know. There are a few things that I want to emphasize today. First of all, as I said, the class is really structured. It has the schedule, so you know when to read, which chapters, when to prepare for what, and there are no surprises. I try not to, screw around to the schedule. I try not to change it. I try not to be absent, although this might happen. I mean, we're humans. But in general, I try to keep it on a fairly regular and brisk pace. So do not fall behind. That's a very fair warning from me. The textbook, this one, the 19th edition. If you get an older edition, I don't even know what is not included in it. I'm sure that some important cases like Citizens United from 2010 or the Westboro Baptist Church from, about the same time, 2011 or so, are not in there. And I give you study guides that are based on the pages in this textbook. So you'll probably find much cheaper 18th edition, God forbid 17th edition, but that is not going to do you any good. You can rent it. I mean, they're coming out with the new edition, which will cost, $7 million probably. So I hope the prices on this one have gone down substantially. Rent it, get it, I don't know, rob a bank, steal it, whatever you want to do. I'm not asking any questions. I want you to have the textbook those. I mean, there is no way around this, okay? This class relies on the textbook very, very, very heavily. Let me know if you have, problems, with that, whatever. But that's something that you must have. Because I do lectures in class and I go over certain material from the textbook, I also require your attendance. I'm here, you're here, as simple as that, as professional as that. Of course, as I said, we're humans, things happen. I give you 2 absences, no questions asked, but in general, it is not to your advantage to be absent, even if you have some valid reasons to be. We are all different learners. There is a lot of stuff that you'll be reading. So if you're not a reading learner, you have to become one because, again, there is no other way to learn law. But I also talk about it. So lots of the stuff you just retain by listening to me. And then I try to show some things. I'm not big on PowerPoints. I actually despise PowerPoints. So don't expect this from me. I just think they're really dumb. And in a PowerPoint, you cannot explain well certain issues. But I do PowerPoints occasionally. What I do more is I give you reading points. So I tell you, okay, talk about this issue in defamation that's on page 275 to 276. Read about it. I talk about it. And then you can listen to what I said. Again, re-listen it at home because I will have it recorded for you. And read it. So several ways to hit the material and learn, regardless of what type of learning, whether you prefer to hear things, whether you prefer to read them, or I don't know. The only things I don't do like cartoons. It's like, this is me yellow in cartoons. I just can't draw. I would, but so that's it about the textbook. That's what I want you to keep in mind when you are getting the textbook. You will be using it very, very, very heavily. I mean, look at mine; it's all heavily used. Another quirk or requirement of mine is cell phones, laptops, tablets, off, off, off. I'll give you, as I said, the talking points for the class. And normally I'll actually do it before the class. So what you can do is you can get them. And then as I follow along and you listen and you take notes. There's tons of studies that show that if you write down things, you retain the material better. Why? Simple psychology of how your brain works. We can all type pretty fast and pretty mindlessly. So you might be listening to me, you might be typing up automatically, not even thinking what I'm talking about, not even absorbing the material. But you cannot write as fast. So by necessity, you have to process what I'm saying. You have to bullet point it, you have to organize it in your mind, you have to understand basically what's going on, and you pay a lot more attention. So that's one of the reasons why I do require note-taking by hands. Unless you have, valid disability issues. Some people can't write well, can't take well notes, so that's fine. We can talk about this. And of course, the other thing is distractions. Oh, baby, how many times I've been in meetings with, associate deans in this college, and I'm checking my cell phone and updating my Facebook. So I know. I've been there, I've done it. But I don't want you to do this because then it's gonna hurt you. Then you'll be like, oh gosh, did he talk about this material in class or not? I don't know, because I was checking my how many likes I got on Instagram. Again, simple psychology. As I said, you have a reading points or some kind of a guide for chapter by chapter as we go. The best strategy for you, because you know what to expect every week, is just to give a quick read, skim through the topic, skim through the chapter before I even talk about it, and then concentrate on the important issues. Because I don't want you to know every single word in a 30-page chapter. That would be just ridiculous. But there are certain points, certain issues, aspects of every chapter that you have to know. And they'll pop up on your quizzes, they'll pop up on your final exam. So if you know overall what the chapter is all about, if you read in advance, they usually one chapter per week, so, somewhere over the weekend, when you're recovering from hard night at, BJ's or whatever. Panama Joe's. Who goes there? This is so like 2016. Read up. And this will help you. This will help you a lot. I've structured the class in terms of grading and in terms of your assignments, also with the mind that students have, or people in general, have different strengths. Some are better at essays, some are better at multiple choice, some are better at open-ended questions, some are better at, high stress final exam. So you have all of that. I give you all different types of evaluation. If you look at your syllabus, you have 10 weekly quizzes. So all my classes in general, those of you who have taken my classes, and again, I will go over the introductions after I'm done with this. All my classes add up to 1,000 points. Simple, simple thing. So like you get 900 points, you get an A. So 90%, you get an A. 800 points, you get a B, and so on. 1,000 points, power to you, you get a complete 100%. So 10 weekly quizzes covering most of the chapters, not all of them because there are more than 10 chapters, but sometimes I combine, sometimes I emphasize different things, which are counting for 50 points each. So half of your grade comes from these 10 quizzes. Now, they can be multiple choice quizzes where I ask, okay, so you've read about the American legal system. So now here are 5 questions to answer. You straight multiple choice, 4 choices, pick one, or true, false, whatever it is. The thing that I do with those, you take them at home. So I put them on Beachboard under quizzes, and you usually have 2-3 days to do them. The trick is I have no control whether you're going to have the textbook open or not. Actually, it'd be really foolish if you don't have the textbook closed. But I don't want to waste class time and then reading time and grading time, and again kill lots of trees in the process. So we're not gonna do them on paper in class. So you do it on your own schedule. You have, as I said, usually 3 days. It's like Thursday, Friday to Sunday. But once you start the quiz, you have to do it, and you'll be really hard pressed for time. You have, say, 10 minutes. So if you don't know the answers, you're not going to be able to look them all up. You might be able to look 1 or 2, but not all 5 of them. So trust me, on my end, I can see if you know or you don't. And that's all to kind of keep you in shape throughout the semester and keep you regular with the reading. So you've been good standing for the final exam. Some of these quizzes might not be multiple choice. Some of them are, for instance, on obscenity. I ask you to use something called the Miller test, which we'll learn about, that is used in American media law to distinguish between materials that are considered obscene and materials that are considered not obscene. And I'll tell you, okay, find me 2 examples. One example of something that would probably be considered obscene under US media law, not European, not Japanese, not, Madagascarian, US media law. And one example of something that would be considered probably, of artistic value, so not obscene. You go and find out and, make a little argument why you think this is that and that is this. So it's not going to be always multiple choice. I want you to, above all, what we're trying to do in this class is to make you aware of what exists in media law and how to apply it, because you have to apply it. In the end, when you go out and you work for an advertising agency, They're not going to ask you, oh, can you recite copyright law for us so we know that we're not violating? No, you have to actually go and apply it. Or at least remember that there was something about copyright and that you cannot just, pluck stuff off the net and, put it in your ad and hope for the best. So I'm trying to make you learn it, but mostly with an eye towards applying it and being able to get out of this class almost with a heart attack, and in the end you're like, oh man, I learned actually some stuff. It was hard, but I did. That's my goal. So the 10 weekly quizzes, again, they're all in the schedule, so you can see where they are. The final exam is worth 30% of 300 points, and that one is a tough one. But again, the reason for that is that I'm trying to hit the same points from different perspectives, and you will come on whatever the date for the final is, I think December 18th or something like that, and for 2 hours you have these questions that are basically coming from the quizzes that we've had through the semester. And you have a reading guide, again, prep, test prep, which I'll give you at least a month before the final exam, maybe even more. I don't care. For all I care, I can give it to you right now. It doesn't make any difference to me. You're just not going to pay any attention to it if I give it to you right now. But you have all the warning and the time to prepare, and again, the rest is up to you. I'm facilitating your learning, but hey, the work is on you. So that's 500 from the quizzes, 300 from the final, 800 points right there, or 80% right there. And then the remaining 200 is from an essay on a legal issue or case study. Most likely, I usually do it on something related to First Amendment. And we'll talk about this. I'll tell you, what to do. Again, likely, I ask you to go and talk to other students about certain First Amendment stuff, because hey, again, if you are in the media, you have to be able to talk to other people. If you can't talk to other people, if you feel like uncomfortable talking to other people, then you're just in the wrong major, guys, right? I'm only saying this because I had students that, oh, why did the professor make us talk to other students? Because duh, media kind of involves other people. Or if you find out that you don't want to talk to other people, then you become, find a job in the media that, you sit in front of the screen all day and, do design or whatever. That's fine. You have to find what you want to do. But from my perspective, something as important as the First Amendment, you cannot just sit and suck on your thumb and do conjectures about what it means to other people. No, you have to actually ask these other people. And that's an essay, basically. You have a question, you have a frame to write about, but to write within, but it's your own, own words, your own writing, your own structure, your own choice of whom to ask, and so on and so on. So all this, boom, adds up to a nice 1,000 points. If you get 900, again, boom, A. 800, B. 700, C. And so on. If there are any students in this class with any special needs, anybody who is registered with the disabled student services, let me know. And again, there are provisions. I'll get the paperwork. We'll see. Sometimes they need more time on exams. Sometimes they need some other arrangements. Whatever it is, we'll deal with this privately, of course. I'll definitely accommodate anybody with special needs. As I said, this is Eric, my assistant. He's helping me with everything, including keeping attendance, recording, as you can see. He might be checking on you sometimes if I divide you into groups and I'm like with one group or I'm somewhere else on campus. Like he might be checking having kind of checking functions. But whatever I ask him to do with you, it's please treat him as you do treat me, okay? All the respect, and I hope you have respect for your professors. But whatever he does, whatever Eric does, is because I'm asking him. So in order to have the class flow smoothly, to have the instruction be kind of without any problems, issues, and so on. I gave you also something that I called mutual understanding or mutual agreement or whatever. It's kind of like a reminder about our mutual roles here. My part is to be professional, to be here on time, to be courteous and insisting that you do your work. Your part is pretty much to do your work. Again, that's really simplifying it, but I want you to talk to me, to have good communication with me about any problems that you might have, anything that impedes you in this class. So as I always joke in my classes, you break up with your boyfriends, girlfriends, and it affects your class, let me know, okay? If you need relationship advice, I can do that too, but let's have the class, part first, right? Absences, email me, copy Eric, please, because he is usually keeping the attendance sheets. Again, anything that you find problematic, let me know. I'll be asking you throughout the semester about certain aspects of the class, and what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Again, I cannot satisfy everybody with my approach to instruction, but I try to be as inclusive as possible, without babysitting anybody, without dumbing down the material, without bringing the level down. But there are certain things that I understand that some people need different approach about. So that's fine. Let me know. But I do my work, you do your work. We are professional and courteous in the classroom. That's about it. It's a lot of work for you. It's a lot of work for me too. Trust me. There is an easy way to teach this class, which is just to, record a few lectures or give you YouTube videos to watch and give multiple choice. That's not how you're going to learn, though. If I want you to learn, I have to put in my work, and if you want to learn, you have to put in your work. It's just like with everything else. So that's about it, I guess. let's see, any questions? Yeah.
Do we take the online quizzes? Would we be able to like review those afterwards for like the final and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, of course, quizzes are online, and once you take them, so usually, again, as I said, the schedule is like, Friday-ish to Sunday-ish, and then on Monday, I pop it up and say, hey, those are the right answers, and that's why. And then if you made a mistake, you know why, right?
And then I took an online class from you, I think 2 semesters ago. Are we doing a lot of discussion boards in this class?
We're going to do a little bit of online discussion in this class, but since we have an, brick and mortar class, we'll try to do more discussion here, in class. That's a good question because I also try to, when we get the new material, we'll talk about some legal issue or cases or whatever. I try to have as much discussion as possible so you can understand it better. The problem is, however, that there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of material. So, I cannot possibly, dwell on, and go back to certain things. Once we have moved on, and you have to keep the pace. Okay? So that's why you have to be, all 100% mentally in class. And if you don't understand something right now, ask me. We'll clarify it, we'll talk about it, we'll discuss it. But if you blank out, then you're just gonna miss on that particular issue. Yep.
So the online quizzes, are they already posted, or do you post them when they?
No, I post them as the time comes. So there'll be one not this week, but after Labor Day, when we talk about American media, American legal system on Wednesday, chapter 1. And then there is a quiz next Sunday because, not over Labor Day, but the week after. So I post them. I mean, I have them. I just open them, so you cannot see them until time comes. But I'll give you a fair amount of, heads up. So like, maybe a week ahead. So you'll be able to prepare and you have the reading points or whatever we do here. If you follow, you'll be able to keep up. If you don't, and you fall behind, then trust me. From my experience, things get really, really sketchy. Yeah?
And then also it says quizzes, briefs, and discussions. And I know someone already mentioned discussions and quizzes. What about the briefs?
Yeah, well, briefs, I'm a little bit dubious about you writing legal briefs. Some of my colleagues, and we have this discussion in the department, who teach this class, they insist that it's important to write legal briefs. I'm not sure that you ever write a legal brief as a journalist or as a media professional. I mean, if you become a lawyer, yeah. But that's why newspapers have, lawyers on retainer, or TV stations, as they're paid to write the briefs. You might exercise somewhat, but I'll probably won't be really insisting on that, just because it's not something that you'd be realistically doing. Discussions, as I said, I might have one that's graded, but I haven't decided about that. But we have a few that we'll talk in class. We might carry on the conversation to beach board at some point, just because class time is limited and maybe not everybody can say what they think on an issue. Maybe they can come up with something else later. So I'll give you the opportunity to jump in. I like online discussion for the reason because everybody can see what everybody else is saying, and it doesn't just it's there. It's online, so you can see it, you can use it, you can make some sense of it later, maybe come up with a question or whatever. But the main thing is, some type of quiz, either multiple choice or open-ended or a practical exercise. the midterm, and then the big scary wolf of a final exam. Also, one thing that you will be doing, there'll be a couple of group exercises where I divide you into groups, and you write, for instance, first freedom of information request, and I might have a little competition and a monetary or gourmet prize of some kind. It's like, let's say if there are like 8 groups, like 40 people, 5 people in a group, the group that writes the best freedom of information act request. Like last semester I gave them $20. I don't know if I'm gonna keep on doing this. Not paid enough to bribe my students to study. But we'll come up with something. Some students like group exercises, some students don't. It's just not everything in this class is amenable to group work. And again, I wish we had more time. I'm really passionate about the subject. You see that much, but just can't do everything as a group exercise. It's not feasible. All right. Other questions? Yep.
Will you offer any extra credit opportunities?
Yes, I usually do, but that's very much contingent upon what happens during the semester. Usually I do, because I'm also the advisor for SPJ, Society of Professional Journalists. So we do some great events through the semester, and like workshops and stuff like that. So I might offer extra credit for that. And also I might do extra credit for events on campus, like speeches. We have a First Amendment Center here on campus. If they organize an event of some kind related to the First Amendment, I mean, by golly, I'll ask you to go there and give you of course extra credit for that. But that all depends on the events. Sometimes there's lots of events. Sometimes there is not that much going on. And the extra credit is not a substitute for the regular work. So if you miss assignments, and I put this on the syllabus, if you miss assignments, you're not gonna get extra credit. Sorry, because I cannot allow you to substitute, pick and choose kind of a la carte what to do. Like you have to do your assignments. Extra credit is extra. And also, I'll limit the number of points, because I want you to end up with 7,500 points of extra credit. But yeah, normally smart, diligent, and resourceful student can get very well with extra credit in my class. I don't mind that. It's just sometimes it's a problem for you to attend events because you have work, you have other commitments, you have classes. I mean, I get it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, there is life outside of this class. Actually, fortunately. As I got a response on one of my online classes, one student wrote, "Professor has to understand that we have life outside of the class." I'm like, Professor has life outside of the class too, He just, work is work. Life is life. Enjoy your work and enjoy life, simple as that.